Okay, welcome to another one of these War of Rights map briefings. Today we're taking a look at a CSA attacking map. This one is Washington Street, and yeah, here's the house. So if you know this one, this is the house. We're actually starting on the point of contention here. Actually, the point of contention is right out here. You'll know it because if you hit T, it says capturing, it says defending, then you're on the point of contention. But that house is the key habitable structure here in this part of Harper's Ferry. That thing can be a bloodbath. So we'll take a look at things from the attacker's perspective, talk a little bit about how defenders respond to it, and we'll go from there. So Union spawn. Union spawn. How about CSA spawn is over here. Spawn, and the CSA has some options. As with almost all maps, there is a left, a right, and a kind of a center push. The right side push, there are variations of it, but it looks something like this. CSA can come down here. All the breaks in the buildings, most of these buildings are not habitable, so that's not an issue, but the CSA can push down here. A lot of times the Union, if they spawn on point and they're looking, they might try to sneak a volley through. But if the CSA moves with some celerity, they're going to be able to get through here without taking too many shots. We are getting close. Yeah, we are close to the map boundary, and there it is. CSA can then push up through these tents if they choose to. They can move. I think they can probably squeeze through. It doesn't matter. But CSA moves up through here. Frequently, the Union will then be waiting for them on the snake or the straight wood fence there. And where the CSA is likely trying to get is they're going to go over here and they're going to try to work behind this brick building. And if they can get back here, that is, by the way, that is the big house, the main house there on Washington Street. And if they get in here, they're able to get hard cover from the building. They can shoot into the Union, who are at soft cover at best. And through, if you can kind of see those flags, we can just fly down this way. This is Union spawn. Just past these flags, kind of in the wagons behind it. So we're not that far from Union spawn here at this brick building. The map edge kicks in again when we get down here. Okay, yeah, you don't want to fall off there. But remember, you can use, in certain parts of this, on both sides of Washington Street, you can use the kind of defilade of the ground here, and you can try to move that way. So, the CSA and the Union, a lot of times they'll exchange gunfire. Down here, you got rocks, you got the defilade. The CSA has options from here, and if the Union want to come get them, as always, they have to probably take a heavy ticket price in order to get to them. So that's the right side push. From there, it can devolve in a number of things. If the CSA wants to continue that push, they'll likely move out here because the Union, if they are defending the house on Washington Street, they're likely up on, they're going to use both floors. And so you can try to work behind these brick buildings. This one's a little bit easier because it's not hemmed in by a fence and you are right on the doorstep of cap. And then from here, you can kind of brick house jump, if you're able to, all the way back to this. This is what I think of as the back line of the Union defense. This road right here. I mean, that's where you're coming out of spawn. You're going down here. You're going to hang your first left, and that's the point of contention. And the big house is on your right. So a lot of the combat area, it's actually larger than I think. At least I think. It kind of feels small, like it's all concentrated around that big house, but there's actually quite a bit that you can do. The Union can pull back a bit further than the CSA can come, and so the CSA and the Union need to keep that in mind. This house, this lone building out here, I'm now kind of jumping flanks, but this is near the map border edge. This is one where the Union can frequently use this to keep an eye on CSA push, that maybe the CSA pushes around the left, the Union right. But there are some areas back here where the Union can go that the CSA will be at pains to try to get them. And if you're the Union, you don't want the CSA back here shooting into your spawn, killing your guys out of line and in skirmishing. And so the Union has a strong incentive to at least keep this back line clear. You can imagine what happens, right? If the CSA makes it out, if they push through here, if they make it out this far, they've cut the Union off from their spawn, or they forced them into a circuitous route to rejoin. Good things the flag spawns are faster than they used to be, but this is a real pickle. The CSA would also be close to point. However, having dove this deep into Union territory, the CSA, it's very possible that the Union is waiting for you, particularly here in this backyard. So that's the habitable building right there, the big brick one. And so the Union frequently can hang out in this corner. They can use the different sides of these houses. They can also use the white fence here, as well as the straight rail fence here. And so it may well be the case that the Union is drawing the CSA in, and then they're going to pounce, they're going to wipe their flag, and then they're going to go and find the other flags and knock them down one at a time. So that's the CSA. It's kind of the far right push. Going back to spawn here, there's also a big left push the CSA can pull, and they can use the concealment, some of the cover and concealment here of the hill, as well as the tents. You can push, push, push. You can go real wide if you want. Again, using the hill to conceal and to cover some of your movements. It's always a bit dangerous though, right? If the Union actually see where you are, the Union can plant themselves in these tents, and then they can rush and ambush you either in the side or wait till you pass, come up behind you, and then maybe they have a group blocking you in front. But the CSA, this is about the boundary, if I recall from playing this as the CSA attackers. It seems like it's like this tree might be a bit too far for the CSA to get to, but they can wrap the edge of these tents here, and that's that lone house I was talking about earlier. And so the CSA can, if they choose to, press and come up here. They're going to need the element of surprise or numbers if the Union have that snake fence or that house or both, because the Union or the CSA at that point is virtually without cover. But if they have numbers and they want to go through and swallow up pockets of defenders who might not be coordinating, that is an option for the CSA, and then they can run back using these buildings towards spawn and collect folks who might have spawned main. There are variations of a center push, but if we remember that's CSA's spawn, you can see there can be a push to the right. They can also push down this way, and then they can choose to cross here. You can get in the backyards and fight with one another, or try to fight with the Union if the Union is going to come out. Union have an okay amount of tickets on here, but because of the amount of concealment and the close quarter nature of things, having a tickets advantage is a big help. And the CSA usually doesn't struggle at short range because there are usually at least some 1842s available. If you end up in a massive melee in this house, there is more than one way in. That's the front door, and then when you get in here, right, there are other doors people fight over, right, whether to open or close the door. Garrison those rooms. You can go upstairs. Also remember that you can go round the back, and that is the back door, and that also opens. Again, there are rooms people could be in them, so you need to do your best SWAT team impersonation. I think that I don't think that door opens. It looks like it's, maybe it does. I honestly don't know. Well, you can all check and you can let me know in the comments if that door opens. The point is, there's more than one way in. Attackers need to know it. Defenders need to know it. This is a map where sometimes the CSA will just go all in and they're like, to heck with it. We're going to cap early. We're going to storm this house. We're going to hold it. And we're going to turn this into our fort. And we're going to give the Union a little bit of time to try to capture it, retake it. And even if they don't, likely both sides are down on tickets. There's a lot of time left, and then the CSA might try to shoot the defenders into breaking or into final push. So there's some skirmishing that can happen in the center. It can end up culminating in a melee in the big house. The kind of variation of the center or the leftmost push from the CSA is to just push up this road and push kind of to this building here. So that's the lone building that we looked at when we looked at the deep CSA flank that would have ended up over there. The CSA can end up in here, and from here they're going to try to clear this fence, clear that fence, and now we're in that backyard area that I said the Union likes to congregate. You're now in the Union backlines, and they're going to want to try to keep those clear, and it can kind of force the Union to come to them, even if the Union is still holding cap. So, yeah, this tends to be melee heavy. It's of the melee heavy Harper's Ferry maps. It's certainly my favorite one. It's one that I've won and lost multiple times on both sides, and so it feels pretty good in that respect. It can be shooting heavy, it can be melee heavy. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to suppress that left alt key if you don't have free look enabled while you're reloading. So it's an interesting map, and certainly one of the better and I think more competitive urban Harper Ferry maps that we have.